Okay. You getting the glove now? It's like this. The top part is like when you put the glove. This is your glove right here.
Put the ball in there.
That was my glove. When I finish, put it like this. I'm always put it in my butt pocket.
Because you need that glove again tomorrow.
I'm telling you, I always need this glove, and it's safe. It's not expensive. I couldn't own no glove. You know, my father wasn't. I mean, it was a lot of things to take care of before a glove and a bag. So, you know, I made my own glove, and I was happy with this thing. I was the happiest kid in the neighborhood with this thing.
Thank you. First of all, I don't understand now why I always have to be the last. I keep saying that for the last 20 years and last 17 years of my career. I always say, why I have to be the last one? But I guess being the last one was special. I wanted to start this thanking my good Lord and Savior, Jesus Christ. For giving me the talent and the blessing and open doors that I could never close and no man can close. So he has given us a beautiful day today, and it's amazing. So thank you, Lord, for everything that you have done in my life. To my wife, Clara, thank you. Thank you. You have been the pillar of our wonderful family. You have been the backbone in our family.
All right, Thrive Nation, on today's show, what we're going to focus on is how to grow a successful company. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to pull up a graphic that is the theory of how to grow a successful company, but vision without execution is hallucination. And so if you go to thrivetimeshow.com/millionaire, you can download a book that I have written called A Millionaire's Guide, How to Become Sustainably Rich. You can download it for free at thrivetimeshow.com/millionaire, but you have to actually implement that which is in the book. And so on today's show, we're joined by a very successful person in the home building business, a great friend of mine, a man by the name of Aaron Antis. Aaron Antis, welcome on to the Thrivetime Show. How are you, sir?
I'm doing great, Clay. Thanks for having me on.
Hey, so I got to ask you this for people out there that want to prove you're not a hologram. First off, what's the website for your company so people can verify that you are, in fact, a real business?
You bet. It's shawhomes.com. SHAWHOMES.com. Shawhomes.com.
I'm pulling it up, shawhomes.com. Pulling it up. That's the website, shawhomes.com.
Yep.
And when you and I met, before we met, you had been already very successful as a home builder. You turned your dream of being a home builder guy into reality.
Yeah.
So how many homes had you sold, or what kind of sales had you done in your career as a home builder guy before you and I even met?
Before we met, probably about 750 million in sales prior to meeting you.
And then you did the year we first started working together. What were the sales totals that year?
We were at like 19 million.
19 million. And then when you ended 2022, obviously we're in 2023, and so we'll see how this year ends. But as far as ending 2022, how much sales did you do last year at the end of 2022?
2022, we were at like 84 million.
Okay, so from 19 million to
84 million.
84 million. So you're doing some things right here. And what we're going to try to do is kind of demystify the plan here. Okay, so here we go. So establishing revenue goals.
Yep.
When you and I first started working together, we started off with a 13-point assessment. We went over your goals.
Mm-hmm.
I'm not going to ask you to share your goals on the air, but why is it important that you have goals?
Well, I mean, goals are sort of your guideposts that, you know, you set something out there in front of you and you start chasing after it. And without that, you're just kind of floundering in mediocrity. You don't have any reason to get up in the morning and really get after it. And so, you know, I think goals are, you know, it's you can have lots of different types of goals. And we've talked about a lot of this. We've talked about, having financial goals and having, fitness goals and having friendship goals and just all these different areas. I know you've got the F6, so that's kind of something that, we touched on very early on. You asked me, like, is one of your goals more income or is it more time? And so I said, well, really at this point, it's more income. And then later it became more time. So, it's changed over the time I've known you since 2016. We're going on 7 years and the income went up considerably. So now it's, turned in the last couple of years towards more time.
Now, the break-even numbers, again, I'm not asking you for the numbers on the show, but you guys have a lot of fixed costs. I mean, if you go to shawhomes.com, you've got framers, you have plumbers, you have the tile people, you have so many skilled people, you have a full-time sales team, you have an admin staff. And if you don't sell a house, you still have the service of the land, you still have all the overhead. Why is it important for every listener out there to know their break-even point? How many deals they need per month just to break even?
Well, yeah, because you're going backwards real quick, and it doesn't take very long if you're at the beginning of your business. It doesn't take very long for you to be in a place where, the creditors are knocking at your door and you're, you can't pay your bills, and all of a sudden you're going to lose all for us, all of our trades, all of our suppliers are going to start backing out. So, you've got to know what that number is that lets you tread water so that, okay, this is the worst case scenario. Everything above that, at least I'm into the profit zone. So, you go out of business pretty quick. Most businesses don't last more than just a few months if they get below that break-even number. So
now, folks, again, these might seem like simple steps, but they're all the linear steps you have to take to create time freedom and financial freedom. And if you want to grow your company, this is how you do it. Box number 3, though, is you have to know the hours you're willing to work. Now, your incredible wife is here off camera for accountability. So at any point, she could yell like, "Hey, Matt," or "Boo." But you guys are on the same page with the hours you're willing to work. And you guys, as a couple, I want to brag on both of you. You guys both committed to sacrificing time and energy and a lot of things to get to where you're at in life.
Yeah.
And then as you had your children, you raised them, you decided to devote time to raising said kids. Yeah. And now that your kids are older, you're devoting time to raising these kids. So it's not like you abdicated being a parent while also growing a company. You did both well. I'd love to get your thoughts on sitting down with your spouse, if you're watching this today, or your significant other, and making sure you're on the same page about how many hours per week you're willing to work.
Well, yeah, I mean, you don't want to grow a business to, make a whole bunch of money just so you can split it in half later.
Oh,
because that's kind of what happens when you don't work out those details ahead of time. And so my wife and I have been married 25 years. We've been together for 4 before that. And so yeah, 26. Did I just say 25?
But real quick, I hate to do this to you.
I just got in trouble.
I hate to. Your wife just turned 27 on Thursday, and what you said is 100% false. Okay, so the unique value proposition here. Now let's talk about this. Whether it's growing a home building company or a dog training business or a haircut chain or a carpet cleaning franchise or whatever business we're involved in helping to grow, you have to sit down as a listener out there, as a business owner. You got to figure out what makes your company unique.
Absolutely.
So I want to ask you, what makes Shaw Homes unique in the marketplace with other home builders?
Yeah, we have more furnished and decorated model homes than any other builder in the market. So, a lot of times people, when they walk into a home and they're trying to decide if they like the floor plan, the layout, whatever, most builders in our market have an empty house that they walk into. It's just kind of echoes when you walk through it. There's no furniture or anything. And we completely, as you can see in this little video here, we completely furnish and decorate it, make it beautiful. We are the most award-winning builder in the state of Oklahoma. We've won like 5 times as many awards as any other builder in the market. So definitely that is one of our big, takeaways.
And I'm going to throw you under the bus real quick, and I don't mean to do this super passively aggressively. It'll just be more of a subtle passive aggressive. When I met you, you guys had all these awards, but no one knew.
That's true.
It was like this weird, bizarre thing where you had all these awards. I remember talking to you, and I'm like, what makes you guys different? And you're like, we do a good job. And you're being nice about it. You're a good salesperson. But I said, well, tell me about the awards. And you're like, well, we got this award, that award.
This is true.
This award, like 45 minutes later, it's like that award. This award, I need to shave now. This award. that award. I need to
There's
go
a lot.
brush my teeth. This award,
Mhm.
that award. I want to go mow the lawn now. This award, that award. I'm thinking about retiring. This award. That my kids are turning 18. I can see it. This award. You're just going, and this award and that award.
Yeah.
And so we put those on the website, and that helped.
Mhm.
And the other thing you guys we needed to change was all these people were saying great things, but we didn't have video reviews of them saying it on camera.
Right.
So it was like
We
your
did.
online reputation didn't match your real world reputation. You had so much good momentum there, and so many people loved you guys. And now you guys have, would you say, 100 video reviews?
Oh gosh, I would say more than that. We've got, we have a lot.
And every
It's,
week you get
could
them.
just keep scrolling and scrolling and scrolling.
scrolling.
And this is actually all that's on this page. If you go to our YouTube channel, we have way more than this. So yeah.
So again, and this is all the stuff. You're going to grow a successful company, folks. Step 1, you got to figure out your revenue goals. Step 2, you got to figure out your break-even goals. Step 3, sit down for an hour of power. Sit down with your spouse. Make sure that you guys are on the same page of your hours you're willing to work. Step 4, unique value proposition. Figure out what it is that makes you unique. And we have an in-depth guide that you can download for free at thrivetimeshow.com/millionaire if you get stuck. Next box, you got to improve your branding. Your website, your one sheet, in your case, model home presentations, business cards, social media branding, everything that a customer sees needs to be first class. And I was talking to a guy named Ronnie Morales today, and it's Morales Brothers. I think you met him at a conference.
Mm-hmm.
He told me this, and I'm not slamming Ronnie. Ronnie, if you're listening, I'm not slamming you. This is the real thing. Ronnie said he listened to our show for 7 consecutive years before ever reaching out. And now he's reached out and he's up 57% in about 8 months.
That's awesome.
And we're going to put his story on part 2 of today's show because he's in Texas.
Cool.
And he's 7 years behind you.
Yeah.
But he's doing a great job.
Good for him.
What do you think that thing is where people have bad branding and they are not, is it, we're not aware of it? Is it someone hasn't brought it to our attention? What causes bad branding?
The number one thing I hear business owners say is, well, I don't really need good branding because I sell everything by word of mouth.
Oh yeah, baby.
Like I've got such an incredible reputation
You do.
that everybody just comes to me by word of mouth.
Yeah.
And then it's like, okay, yeah, but how much business did you do last year? Well, not very much. And, I'm really unprofitable, but I've got great, reputation out there and I get a lot of word of mouth. So when people switch over to starting to improve branding, I know you helped us a lot with that in just creating a lot better looking website, creating we've got an office environment now that is, when people walk into our model home, they are blown away. We truly wow our customers when they come to our model homes.
Yep.
It's a one-of-a-kind experience in the state of Oklahoma. And the process of that, just going through branding it so that it looks really top notch. And, that includes everything from, marketing to all of your senses and everything else. So it just really brought us to another level. And when the customer comes in and experiences us after having walked through other builders' homes, they usually come in and go, you guys are just on a whole nother level.
It's sights, sounds, smells, experiences, everything that your customer sees, they're grading you on. And you might not know that they are even judging you because they're not filling out the form. And I have a funny story to share with you that's kind of sad. I was working with a fitness guy years ago, and I'm not going to tell you what state he's in or what city, folks. I know you want to know, but I'm not going to tell you. And he filled out the form because his wife wanted him to schedule a 13-point assessment.
Mm-hmm.
He did not want to.
Yep.
And he tells me, Clay, honestly, I'm just doing the call because my wife wants me on the phone. I got to, I don't get leads from social media. I don't get leads from marketing. I get all my leads word of mouth, like you were saying.
Mm-hmm.
And I said, well, let me just do this. Let's just, this first month working together, let me get all the passwords for your Facebook, your Google, your YouTube. And I'm just, as the first month, we do this with every single client.
Yeah.
We optimize your YouTube, your Facebook, your Instagram, your Twitter, all that.
Yep.
We log on. This is a fitness guy.
Mm-hmm.
He was spending like $400 a week every week on ads.
Yeah.
And he hadn't known, he wasn't aware that every time a lead came in, it got stuck in Facebook and went to an email address that he wasn't checking.
Whoa.
So think about this.
That's not good.
And it's like 15 to 20 leads a week for years this guy had.
That's not good.
And he didn't even, and so I'm going, you're spending, $20,000 a year on ads that you're not getting anything from. And are you aware that the phone number on your site rings to a phone that's no longer a real phone? And I'm serious. This was real. And then he had before and after photos where somebody had the idea of let's get before and after photos, where you interview someone before they start working out.
Yeah.
But then they never completed the thought. You know what I'm saying?
I do.
Where
yes.
it's like they interview them about getting in shape,
Yeah.
but then they never actually like aired the part where they're in shape.
Oh no.
So it's just sort of like an interview with people that are not in shape. And I'm like, and again, he's busy guy, busy entrepreneur. That kind of stuff is very common. It's kind of laughable if it's not your company.
Yeah.
But okay, next box. You got to determine your customer acquisition costs. How much does it cost you to get a customer? So Aaron, you guys run ads on Google, on Facebook, on retargeting ads. You have massive signage. There's a lot of stuff you do.
Yep.
Why is it important to know how much it costs you at the end of the day to get an actual new buyer of a Shaw home?
Well, because if you want more of those, you know what it costs to go generate more of those. And it's, it's a cost where it's like, okay, well, I'm down in sales this month or this quarter or whatever, and I need 4 more sales to make it a good quarter here before the end of the quarter. And it's like, I know I can go put money into that, and it's going to cost me X number of dollars per customer to get there. And so then it's just a matter of, do I want to spend that money to get to that point? So, for us, it's, a pretty high number because it's a big ticket item, but for some people it might be, very small to get that, each customer. But for us, it's, you got to know what the number is, because ultimately that goes into the price of your product, and whatever you sell, we're doing homes. That is one of our line item costs in our homes.
That's what costs.
Yeah.
Now, if you go to any of the businesses that I'm involved in, you go to eitrlounge.com/staff. I put in the password here. Once I put in the password, I have all of the documents needed to run the company, and they're all saved. So the checklist for the manager, the opening checklist for the assistant manager, the bathroom cleaning checklist, everything needed to grow the company's all in one place. And therefore, the business, everybody who works there knows where to go to find those documents. This is the kind of stuff that fires me up, and it makes other people crazy.
Oh, yeah.
So with the conferences we do, if we ever do a conference that's out of town, I have a checklist of stuff I print out. I know it seems kind of crazy for people, but this is real. I print it out, and it's like, okay, socks. If I'm gone for 4 days, I want to have 12 pairs of socks. Why? Because it could be hot. I don't know. Could get wet. I don't know. And I have a list of, deodorant and socks and shaving, and I have a laptop and a backup laptop, and I have patch cables and XLR cables, and we bring 3. You've seen all this stuff, but it's multiple monitors, backup monitors. It's backups for everything. When you guys build a Shaw home, you're not moving off of guesswork. There's blueprints, there's plans, there's systems, so houses don't fall down. There's somebody out here listening right now that doesn't have systems in place. They don't have checklists.
Oh, yeah.
They don't have it, and so they have to think about everything all the time, because if not, they forget a step.
Yeah.
What would you say is the importance of having taken the time to have built these systems now?
It is the night and day difference between running around like your hair is on fire every day, constantly playing firefighter, or, you hear people say, oh, I'm up to my armpits in alligators. It's because you don't have systems and processes. And every time at Shaw Homes, every time that we have a problem come up, we automatically go, okay, what step in our system did this fall apart in?
Yep.
And what's broken in that step, and how can we fix it so it never happens again? So we go fix the process. We address the problem for the customer, but then we go back after that and we go, how do we fix the process so we don't repeat this problem? And the business owners that are running around with their hair on fire all the time, it's because there's no systems, no processes. Everything is urgent. Everything is hair on fire.
Correct.
And it is a chaos world that you live in. And if you're going to build homes for a living and build a lot of them, you cannot live in that chaos world.
Now, this next box, I get excited about all these boxes. This is what I get excited about. This right here is what I care about. Okay. The next box is management and execution. You have people on your team, and I'm just going to give some examples, and I hope this benefits somebody out there listening. You have people on your team. It's their responsibility every time that you do a new house. They go out there and they design, or they get the blueprint on the website.
Yep.
They get the new a design of the home, because people want to see floor plans.
Yep.
So somebody's job is to get those up there.
Yes.
Somebody gets photos of every house that you guys are building.
Yeah.
Somebody gets videos of every house. Somebody puts them all up for sale. Somebody answers the phone every day.
Yes.
Somebody calls the leads every day.
Every day.
Somebody cleans the bathroom every day. Somebody builds the houses every day. Now, this is what I find, and I'm sure none of our listeners can relate to this. Some of our listeners fire people, and then nothing happens. So work with me on this. There's listeners out there that I talk to them every day, because we do free 13-point assessments. So I talk to 2 or 3 people a day who go to thrivetimeshow.com. They want to schedule a consultation. And the other day you heard me talking to Jordan. I said, Jordan, go ahead and keep setting those. Because we set an appointment with someone who's definitely not a good fit.
Yep.
And you could tell he had a little, question if that was okay. And I said, I would rather you set an appointment with somebody than not, because I don't know if who's a good fit or not,
Yeah.
But the idea, though, is I sit down. I was talking to a guy the other day, and he was like, the reason why my team did not get Google reviews or reviews this week is because we fired a guy.
Mm-hmm.
And I go, because I'm just asking him, where are we stuck? What's your biggest limiting factor? I have a big process I go through in my evaluation.
Yep.
And I said, who calls the leads? He's like, well, normally I have a person that calls the leads, but we just fired her. And I mean this. I'm going, how long have you been in business? This guy's been in business for over 10 years.
Mm-hmm.
And he's reaching out for help. Good person. We're trying to help him. I think it's going to be a good fit.
Mm-hmm.
But so I said, so basically everybody follows the systems until they don't work there anymore. And then no one does the systems. And you go back and forth vacillating from things being done to not being done.
Mm-hmm.
And one of my favorite things about working with you guys is that you're honest people. What does that mean? You do your best to do what you say you're going to do.
Mm-hmm.
And you hold yourself and the employees accountable.
Absolutely.
But what would happen if every week if somebody wasn't performing, you removed them from the position, and then the houses weren't built for the week because something wasn't going well, or because maybe a salesperson wasn't performing at the peak, you let them go, and the next thing you know, what would happen if you managed your company that way?
It would be a disaster. I mean, I can't just fire my superintendent without having somebody already ready to take over all of those responsibilities, because I've got materials showing up at the job site today, tomorrow, and the next day. I've got trades showing up who need some supervision, need to know what they're supposed to be doing. If I fire that guy with no warning, somebody else has to come fill in that position. So, for us, we try to never have that gap happen. And, sometimes it's like, that you're going to need to fire somebody and you can see the writing on the wall.
Right.
But you want to get the next person up and ready to go before that happens.
And you guys have a weekly meeting. So we talk a lot on the show from an employer perspective, but how frustrating would it be to be an A-player employee and you're working for a C-player boss? A boss that doesn't have a staff meeting, that's not organized, that doesn't pay people on time, that's constantly emotional. I see that a lot. And so management is a learned skill.
Yes,
and thankfully, when I first met with you, you'd already really mastered, in my opinion, managing people. But this next box is where I thought we needed some help, was to build a system for constantly recruiting new people, because certain people work for Shaw Homes for 3 years or 4 years, and then they want to go move, they want to have a baby, they want to stay home, they want to get a new job. Yep. And even though you have low turnover at Shaw, certain people get to their expiration date and it's time for them to move on to something else.
Yep.
And because we didn't have a process in place at Shaw at that time to consistently bring in a pipeline of new people, it made it difficult to do the management that was needed. Can you talk about the importance of implementing a human resources program for hiring, inspiring, training, and retaining good people?
It's huge. I mean, that was definitely an Achilles heel for us. And you helped us a lot with that. Putting in where every single week I'm seeing, potential candidates that could come work for us, and they're job shadowing and seeing what it's like to work in our company every single week.
Yep.
It does multiple things. It helps the people who work there to know, hey, there's other people who desire to come work here.
Here we go.
And, if I'm not doing my job, I might get replaced. So there's a little bit of that. And then it's also a thing of, the people who are shadowing get to see the job being done by people who are happy doing their job. And it helps them to want to come be a part of Shaw Homes. I've got a very long list of people right now in every single position that would be excited to come work for us if I did all of a sudden find myself with an opening, because occasionally people leave with no notice or whatever, something happens, family emergency, whatever.
Right.
And you have that, I need to replace somebody immediately. And the great thing about it is I have a whole bunch of people that I could plug into that position very quickly, because every single week I am interviewing.
Now, the next box here is you got to do your accounting, and in order to earn millions, you have to automate your accounting. What does that mean? You have to have a system in place for making sure you price your products and services correctly, and that you pay yourself first, that you set aside a set amount of money to pay yourself and your staff. And all these things work together. And what I find is people ask me often, just not knowing, they come from a place of a good heart. They don't know. They say to me, Clay, what is the most important step in growing Shaw Homes? I've heard Aaron on the show. He's a great guy. Clay, I've heard PMH OKC on the show. Clay, I've seen OxyFresh on the show. What was the most important thing they did? And to me, that's like asking a hiker, what was the most important step you took to get to the top of that mountain?
Mm-hmm.
Well, it was the one we took there an hour ago. I took a left step. No, it's or it's that gasket of baker. What's the most important ingredient? Is it milk? Is it sugar? Is it eggs? Is it, it's like asking a farmer, what's the most important thing, feeding the animals or watering them? What's the key to your success? There's just certain questions that I understand people want to know, but all of this has to work together, and nothing works unless you do. So I have 3 final questions for you. For anybody out there that's thinking about scheduling a consultation, a free consultation with thrivetimeshow.com and myself, obviously they're stuck with me if they fill out the form. I'm the only person that does 13-point assessments.
Right.
I believe I've seen it since 2005. We help people decrease their costs, increase their time, freedom, and profits. What would you say is the benefit of scheduling that 13-point assessment?
Well, actually, the 13-point assessment was very eye-opening for me. You asked me a lot of tough questions that I probably should have been asking myself and wasn't. And so as we went through the questions, I was like, I think at every question you asked me, I was like, oh, that's a good question. And I was like, hang on, let me think about that for a minute. So I find that it kind of helps open your eyes to, these are some things that I know I have some areas of weakness. And then there were, I think, a couple of the questions where I was like, oh, I know the answer to this one. I got this one, no problem. But it helps you sort of identify. I walked away having identified areas of strength and areas of weakness, even though that really wasn't the purpose of the phone call necessarily. It helped me to see that. And then I was like, I think I have a need in a couple of these areas, and I didn't really know what to do for myself. I didn't have the answers.
In part 3 of today's show, part 2, we're going to show the Ronnie Morales story. On part 3, we're going to do a testimony with Myron. And Myron just bought his first Lamborghini today, and he's super fired up. And so Myron's about 6 years down the path. We've been working with you for about 8 years, whereas Ronnie's been with us for less than a year. And it's at a certain point that we have to take action. Knowledge without application is meaningless. What would you say to somebody who's like, it's $1,700 a month, and, I'm spending that much right now on random ads and that much money on random regrettable purchases at the gas station, and, a lot of iTunes I'm downloading. I'm spending $1,700 a month on various things, and I don't know if I can afford it because I've just bought another vehicle that I can't afford, but I'm leasing it. What would you say to anybody who's kind of on that fence?
I would say you need to do it. It has been a game changer for us. I don't know why you would sit there and think $1,700 a month is too much money to spend. Go find the money somewhere. Go empty out your sofa cushions. Go sell the stuff that you have in your house that you're not using. Go get, whatever you need to do to get to that place. You need to find that $1,700. And I will say this, that cost was very quickly replaced with the extra money we were making. And I've actually seen, because I've been around you for a long time, I've seen a lot of your clients come in and right off the bat, they're real nervous about, am I going to be able to, because maybe they're a smaller company or whatever. Right. And they're like, I'm wondering if I'm going to be able to handle this $1,700 a month. And then I see them 6 months later and I'm like, how's it going now? And they're like, man, we're just hitting record after record. I have referred several business owners
and they're doing great,
that are killing it. And that, I'll give one example. I won't name the person, but I did send one of my very good friends to you who was on the verge of losing his business because he just wasn't able. He had bought another one of the shops of what he does. Yep. He opened it and it was not profitable and it was going to take under both of his shops. And I sent him over to you. And I remember about 3 months later, I asked him, how's it going? And he goes, man, we just had a record-breaking month. This was amazing. And
by the way, said person just hit another record-breaking month, just so you know.
Yeah. And I know right now, not only does he have way more income, but he has a lot more time freedom because he's been working with you for many years now. And so it changed his life just like it changed my life. I would say if you're thinking about, doing a 13-point assessment, stop thinking, dial the phone, pause this video, make the phone call, reach out to Clay, get it started right now.
Now, final question I have is, I think people look at oxyfresh.com and they go, man, there's 500 locations now.
Yeah.
They look at Elephant in the Room and they go, there's 5 brick and mortar locations now. They look at Shaw Homes and they go, these are big success stories. Yeah. I don't know that I can do it. What would you say to somebody out there that just feel like they might not have all this stuff they're going to learn is going to be over their head, too complicated? What would you say?
I would say the information, the ideas are easy. It's the application that is difficult for people. The ideas that you share, there's nothing that's like, oh my God, I don't have a PhD, therefore I can't do it. I feel like it's all very, very simple stuff, but it is a lot of action to get traction, and you got to get the action going. And I think if somebody has diligence and discipline, or can learn diligence or discipline, they're going to do extremely well. And it's not about education, it's about action.
Now, Aaron, I got one thing I want to say, and then we'll kind of wrap up today's show, okay, with a boom, because boom stands for big, overwhelming, optimistic momentum, and that's what's required to have success. People watching this, they're going, wow, Aaron, he looks like a normal guy. Well, that's true. They say, well, he sounds like a normal guy. Yeah, sounds like an all right guy. That's true. But the one thing you can't quite picture on the show, and I want to just give that gift to you folks who are watching, is Aaron smells tremendous. It's like if you had smell-o-vision, if you could just get up there and just smell that thing, it's incredible. And it's really, it's his aroma that allows him to achieve massive success. So if you're out there and you're going, what's the secret sauce? It's not a sauce. It's more of just a smell. So I don't know if you qualify to have the kind of success he has unless you smell like he smells. It's a really tremendous smell. Okay, let's end this thing with a boom. Here we go. 3, 2, 1, boom. Well, Thrive Nation, we have an opportunity all the time. We have so many wonderful people that go to thrivetimeshow.com and they reach out to us to schedule a 13-point assessment. We also have a lot of people that go to thrivetimeshow.com and they schedule a free 13-point assessment, and they're not a good fit because I only work with diligent doers. I only work with people that are willing to actually implement the proven systems that Dr. Zellner and I both teach and implement in our own companies. So people say, I do want to grow my business 7 times faster. I do want to reduce my working hours. I do want to increase my time freedom and my profits. I think we're all in agreement that that's a good thing. However, we can only help people that are willing to put the work in. And on today's show, we're joined by a man by the name of Ronnie Morales. His company is moralesbrothers.net. I hold him in high regard because he and his family-owned business, they actually are growing. I would call it dramatically. When you look at this, Inc. magazine right now shows that 96% of businesses fail. Inc. magazine says 96% of businesses fail. That's not good. Whereas this guy's business isn't growing by 10%. It isn't growing by 20%. It is growing dramatically. But again, if Ronnie Morales had filled out the form and had scheduled a consultation and wasn't willing to actually implement what we were teaching, it would all be for naught. So I'm excited for you to meet somebody who I would consider to be a diligent doer. He's based in Richmond, Texas. And without any further ado, Ronnie Morales, welcome onto the Thrivetime Show. How are you, sir?
Hey, I'm doing great. Thanks, Clay.
Hey, so how did you first hear about us? How did you hear about the Thrivetime Show?
I listened to your Thrivetime Show podcast for those 7 years, and I was learning so much. I was like, man, I got to give this guy a try.
So you listened to our podcast 7 years ago?
Yeah.
Really?
7 years.
Do you remember the first podcast you listened to 7 years ago?
I don't remember. I listened to so many of them.
Okay.
I listened to, more than once.
Now, when you're listening to the podcast, I try to feature clients on the show so that there's real people really doing it, really implementing the systems. When did it occur to you that you might want to, go ahead and fill out the form at thrivetimeshow.com and schedule a consultation?
I got to the point where I just needed to take the next step. And I've been in coaching before, like group coaching and different things like that. But I just felt like everybody on your show was making tremendous changes in their business. And coming from you and Dr. Z, I felt like y'all had the experience. It didn't matter if it was, because I've been used to doing construction, like peer groups and construction coaching, where it's contractors only. Well, I felt like, you know what? I need somebody business minded to help me grow this. I don't necessarily need a group of just contractors. I need somebody that knows the business part of it.
And what kind of growth have you had since you began working with us as far as a percentage? Do you know a percentage or what kind of growth?
Yeah, so we had about a 57% increase from last year's first quarter to this year's first quarter. So that was huge for us. And personal growth too. I honestly, just as a business leader and team member here in my company, I've grown a lot to be a better leader, learn how to delegate better, learn how to get these 15-minute huddles started every morning. And it's just been great. I'm just continue to learn, and I can't wait to keep moving forward.
Well, people always ask me, they say, what's the most important part of business consulting. And that would be to me like asking a baker, what's the most important ingredient in a cookie? I mean, is it the flour? Is it the sugar? Is it the eggs? I would say if you take out any one of those core ingredients, you're going to have a weird tasting cookie. So in our business consulting, we focus on marketing, branding, sales, hiring, leadership, management, accounting, all of those things. So let's kind of go through the process from just a branding perspective and a marketing perspective. How has the business consulting impacted your company?
No, it's been great. The branding, the marketing. I mean, people around town are telling us, "Hey, I've seen your trucks here and there. I see you all over the place." When people are searching Google or whatever it is, they're finding our videos and they're reaching out to us. I think one of the biggest parts with business coaching for me has been the accountability. Like just having somebody to tell me like, hey, get this, and this done, and have it done by this day, and we move on to the next step. So I mean, it's been great.
Now we have a weekly meeting. The purpose of a weekly meeting is so that you have a week to get your homework done. We have a week to do our homework. I mean, we do photography, videography, web development, search engine optimization, and you and I meet on Saturdays at 6:30 a.m. I find a lot of my clients like to meet in the mornings. How important is it to have that weekly meeting? Because I'm 42, but when I was 21, I was hiring business consulting programs that would do quarterly meetings or oftentimes even monthly meetings. And I found that nothing got done. How important is it for you to have a weekly meeting?
I think it's very important as a business owner to have that weekly accountability to make sure you're staying on schedule. Because as a business owner, you wear so many hats. It makes it difficult to get the important things done that you need to get done, but that you want to put on the back burner. But when you have somebody to be accountable to, and it's a weekly thing, and they're steadily putting in your ear, like you got to get these things done. Get the reviews. Get the video testimonials. It just makes it to where you have an assignment and they just get it done.
Now, at the business conferences, we walk people through the entire system. This is the system we teach from. This is from my newest book called A Millionaire's Guide to Becoming Sustainably Rich, which everyone can download for free right now at thrivetimeshow.com/millionaire. You and I, we track the numbers every week. So box number 1, we establish those revenue goals. We do that. We know the break-even numbers. We know how many hours you're willing to work. This is crazy. You're married. Your wife loves you. You love your wife. I'm not ever advocating during our coaching meetings like, forsake your family and grow your company. Can you talk about that, how important it is to work with maybe a coach that understands that you want to have a healthy family and a healthy company?
Oh, I think it's very important. Like yesterday, I had a good dinner with my wife, and we had a good evening with live music and really enjoyed each other's company. I took my kids camping twice this month already for 4 days, and we're enjoying the summer. But I think it's very important that as a business owner, as you put the hours in, put the hard work in, but you also take the time to spend with friends and family. I mean, it's important. Rising up early to get in my meditation time is very important to me too. So I think just again having somebody that knows the value of these things is important.
Now, as we go through, I mean, you are knocking it out with the marketing and the branding and all the things we have to do to optimize your website and make the ads work. We've determined your unique value proposition. We've improved the branding. We have a 3-legged marketing stool. We know how to generate leads online and offline and referrals. The sales process, and I'm not picking on you, but I mean this, you're like a super humble guy. So I feel like that the sales process was something that once you learned the proven process, you kind of took to it right away. But I think a lot of contractors don't want to come across as too aggressive or too passive or too whatever. And I feel like the sales process of your team really doing a good job of calling all the leads, and the calls are recorded for quality assurance. I feel like that's been a big needle mover for you. Maybe I'm wrong. I'd love to get your thoughts on that.
Yeah, no, it's been great. I had my own way before I joined your team. I had my own way of sales, and what I thought was working really wasn't working. And at first I put up a wall, but once I was opened up to the why you do it the certain ways you do it, it really opened up more ways to be more successful. With the call scripts, with the recorded calls, we're still tweaking scripts and things like that, but it's like an ongoing process. But it's been great, and I think that it has helped us a lot. We call our leads back right away, within hours, a few hours, most of the time. And it's just important. And we've gotten a lot of leads, and where I needed to hire my first sales employee.
And now we're working on more of the systems, creating these repeatable systems and managing a larger group of people. In that daily huddle, can you talk? I hammer all my clients that it's so important to have a daily huddle with your team, to huddle with your team every morning and to have a weekly staff meeting. Could you talk about the importance of implementing these human resource strategies for managing people and what impact that's had for your company?
Yeah, so the impact of daily huddles have for my company is that it brought the team together. All of our employees, which is 17 of us full time, it's brought us all together to where we get to see each other in the mornings and grow together. We start off with some wins, keep it brief. We go over company updates. Then we go over all our projects and we ask like, how's that client doing? Is the project on schedule? But it helped us a lot with the daily interruptions with, hey, so what's going on here? And these questions that can be answered in the morning. So they learn to answer these important questions in the morning so that there's less interruption throughout the day.
Now, the final two areas I wanted to cover here is, there's so much to growing a company, and that's what we talk about on our weekly coaching calls. But building a sustainable and repetitive weekly schedule, like every week we're doing the group interview. Every week, we're gathering objective reviews from clients. Every week, we're gathering before and after images. Every week, you're gathering testimonials from your happy clients. You have to do this stuff every week. It's like a garden. You got to pull the weeds every week. Could you talk about the importance of having these human resource systems in place where you do these systems every week so it's, proactive as opposed to reactive, doing these same things over and over?
Yeah, I think it's important to do it every week and repeat them so that things don't fall through the cracks. And if you get too relaxed on not doing it, or you go 2-3 weeks without listening to recorded calls or whatever it may be, you start to slack off a little bit. The next thing you know, you're in trouble. And now you're putting out another fire that wouldn't have been there if you would have been on track and keeping up with the systems and processes. So just doing it repeatedly helps with building that system. Everybody knows it's this day at this time. Our morning huddles are every day from 7:07, last 15 minutes. And it's everybody knows to be there. And it's just been great.
Now, final two questions for you. People out there that maybe want to do business with you, they're hearing about you. Again, it's very hard to gather objective Google reviews if people don't like you. It's very hard to gather video testimonials if people don't like the work you do. What's your website, and how do people, go ahead and get a hold of you if they're looking to hire you guys for maybe a big project?
Yeah, so our website is moralesbrothers.net. And you can definitely just fill out our get in touch form to reach out to us. And I personally will actually be in touch with you and have a conversation with you.
And for anybody out there that's contemplating coming to one of our workshops or scheduling a free 13-point assessment, what word of encouragement or what advice would you have for anybody out there?
Well, I would say don't wait any longer. Jump in, because if I would have jumped in 7 years ago, I would have been in a whole different place today. So
I guarantee you would be. I'll say this though, and I'm not prophetic. I'm saying you're on pace. You're on pace to have a business that's going to be about 5 times larger than what it was when I first met you. And I say that because the first thing you see is the leads coming in, and you start to see new teammates joining your team, and you're building that foundation for success. And I totally see you guys going to a great place right now. So I wish I would have met you earlier. That's my only complaint. But that's Ronnie Morales. Ronnie, I really appreciate you. I'll give you the final word. What do you want to say to everybody out there that's maybe contemplating taking their business to the next level?
Like I said, guys, don't wait any longer. Reach out to Clay and the team, do your assessment, and be a diligent doer.
Amen to that. Ronnie Morales, take care, sir. Have a great day.
Thank you.
Bye. Well, ladies and gentlemen, on today's show, we're interviewing an entrepreneur who is kind, who is diligent, who is the kind of person you'd want to hang out with. And I think if you're out there today, we need to understand that money is just a magnifier. Money just makes you more of who you are. And I hear nothing but great things about today's guest and longtime client. Myron, welcome on to the Thrivetime Show. How are you, sir?
Hey, thanks. I'm doing good.
Hey, so real quick, let's get into your background a little bit here. How did you first hear about us? How long ago was that when we first started coaching or working with you?
So it had been about six and a half years ago. Steve Currington, one of you guys' longtime clients as well. He actually recommended me to you guys about 6 years ago. And I went to one of your conferences, and I was blown away by what I seen at the conference, and I had to join.
Now, someone wants to verify you're a real person, and also it might turn into a couple of deals for you. What's your website so people can pull this up and verify you're not a hologram?
Yeah, check us out. whitegloveautotulsa.com.
whitegloveautotulsa.com. So let me pull it up here. Glove Auto Tulsa.com. And
Yep.
with White Glove Auto, what are all the services that you guys provide at this point?
So the services that we provide right now are like services like paint protection film for your vehicle to protect its paint, ceramic coating for your paint. It's another form of paint protection. We do window tinting, and then we do vinyl wraps.
So you guys at White Glove Auto, I mean, you guys do quite a few services. Also, these mics I have right here, you guys auto wrap these microphones. Is that accurate, sir?
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, we printed out that wrap ourselves and we wrap those.
That's awesome. So that's, again, folks, that's White Glove Auto. Now, as far as growth, since we've had the opportunity to serve you, what kind of growth have you seen over these past 6.5 years?
So man, that's the crazy thing. So our growth has been absolutely insane. I averaged it up over the last 8 years I've been in business. We've averaged about a 52% growth year over year, and that is just insane.
So you've grown. If you had to go back 6.5 years from when we started with you to now, do you know what that total growth percentage would be? Are you like 5 times larger or 10 times larger?
Oh man, I mean,
50% of a big number is,
I mean, when I first started with you guys, I think I had just done $100,000 for the whole year. This year, I'm probably gonna do 2.1 million.
Wow. So you guys are up 20 times.
Yeah.
Okay. Now, for anybody out there that hasn't worked with a business consultant, I always tell people what we do is very analogous to what a personal trainer does for fitness. And I would also say that what you guys do at White Glove Auto is very similar to what a personal trainer does, but you do it for automobiles. So if you're out there today and you want to auto wrap a vehicle, I guess you could get a manual about it. And I guess you could get all the equipment. And I guess that you could devote usually years to learn the craft and master it, and then invest in the physical building to auto wrap your own vehicles. Or you could go to an expert. Can you kind of explain what it's like working with a business coaching program on a week in, week out basis?
Yeah, so like working with the business coaching program is phenomenal. It's something that I'm very glad that I've done. Every week, meeting with you guys, for instance, is just nice to know updates on my SEO and how things are going. And anytime I have questions about things I might be stuck on, and being able to have those questions answered has just been great.
And with the meetings, I think one of the things that I think is very important, whether you have a business or you have a business coach, you need to have certain core, repeatable, actionable processes that you go every week so you don't drift. There's certain core, repeatable, actionable processes. Could you talk about maybe how those meetings have helped you to make sure that, that you're not drifting and that your organization is continuing to knock out those core, repeatable, actionable processes?
Yeah, absolutely. So that's one of the biggest things I learned from you guys' meetings is, doing checklists and processes and just making sure I'm doing the same thing every day. And when I go to my meetings, my coach is always following up with me, making sure I'm doing my action items. And if I'm not, he kind of gets a little upset with me. So it keeps me on track. But yeah, learning those processes has definitely been a huge help for us as well.
Can you maybe peel back the onion and maybe share a couple core, repeatable, actionable processes that you have to do every week that might seem kind of mind numbing, but that actually produce results?
Yeah. So, I mean, this is something I do every week. I do actually every day, and that's finances, going over my numbers and seeing my exact expenses and how much money is coming in, how much money is going out. And I do that every single day for about an hour, hour and a half a day. And it's mind numbing, but it's something I got to do. And that's something I learned in Thrive as well, is making sure you're on top of your numbers.
And my understanding is you now are the owner of a Lamborghini. Is this an accurate thing? Did you just buy a Lamborghini?
Yeah. And I did just buy a Lamborghini. It delivers today.
And what does it look like, or what kind, for people out there that don't know what it is? Can you maybe describe it or tell me what kind of Lamborghini is it?
Yeah, it's a 2020 Lamborghini Huracan Evo. It's actually like a purple color. So Viola Pacife is what the color is called. Yep, Huracan Evo.
Evo, got it. And I am not a car guy, so I'm going to just hack away here and see if I can find it. So this is kind of what it looks like, but yours is purple.
Yep, exactly. It's purple. So it's not a convertible either. It's actually the coupe, but that is pretty much what it looks like.
And has this been on your wish list for a long time, or?
It has been. Yeah, it's been on a wish list for a very long time. I can't believe I've actually been able to buy a $300,000 car, but here I am.
Now, let's talk about this for people out there that are thinking about coming to a workshop. You know, I always tell people it's $250 to come to a workshop, or whatever price they want to pay. What can people expect if they come to a workshop?
Man, when you come to a workshop, I mean, even though it's, $250 or, whatever you spend, you're going to get a ton of value out of that. Whenever I go to a workshop that you guys have, I always learn something new every time I go. There's a bunch of information, a bunch of questions that get answered that maybe I didn't know I had. So anyway, it's very, very helpful.
And we'll talk about website edits and graphic design and branding and print pieces. I think a lot of business owners, they have a consultant they hire, and then the consultant they hire tells them, well, you need to go optimize your website, or you need to go launch ads, or you need to go look at your numbers. But they don't actually sit down and help them with their numbers, or help them with their website, or help them. How has that helped you, having a turnkey, one point of contact, where every week when you meet with our coaching team, after that meeting, you've got a team that's doing the photography, the videography, the web development, the search engine, and kind of helping you with those things behind the scenes?
Oh, it's a huge help. So, I mean, if you guys were just telling me, hey, do this, do that, and not giving me any type of actual coaching on how to do those processes, probably wouldn't do it, because it'd be a little too difficult. Maybe it's a little overwhelming. So it's definitely nice to have a lot of help on the back end from you guys.
Now, let's talk about this idea. In business, there's always a new idea. People like to bring up new ideas and obsess on new ideas and not execute the proven ideas. Can you maybe talk about that? Because I see a lot of wonderful entrepreneurs that reach out to us. They schedule 13-point assessment, and I find out that for 10 consecutive years, they've been hopping to the idea of the month, the idea of the week, the idea of the hour, and they're always hopping from idea to idea, but they don't actually get anything done. Can you maybe talk about how coaching kind of helps you stay on track with what works?
Yeah, I think really the biggest thing is just having that coach there that's behind you. And every week, like I said, whenever you're meeting with that coach, they're just making sure that you're staying on track. Again, having somebody who's there, and knowing that they could get upset with you because you're not staying on track and doing your action items is a huge help. If I didn't have that person behind me kind of helping push me, I don't think some of the stuff would be getting done.
Now, we charge $1,700 a month as of the time of the recording of today's show. $1,700 a month. We operate at a 20% margin for what we do. And we're very clear about that. It's $1,700 a month. It's month to month, and it's 20% margin. With your business model, you guys do auto wraps. And if somebody out there is looking to auto wrap, let's say a truck or a car or a vehicle, what kind of has Andrew been able to help you be intentional about making sure that you're not doing auto wraps where you lose money? Because I know a lot of people in your industry that I've met at conferences that do beautiful wraps, but they found a way to lose money on every transaction. Has Andrew kind of helped on that aspect to make sure that you're profitable?
Yeah, absolutely. That's the thing is, there's a lot of people out there, a lot of other people that do wraps, like you said, that are just afraid to charge what they want to charge. And one of the things that's helped me, like from Andrew, is just helping me not be afraid to charge what I need to in order to be a profitable business. And I actually get a lot of hate, a lot of shade thrown my way for charging higher prices, but it's what I got to do to run a profitable shop.
Now, this is probably an awkward time to place that order, so I'll put it on the agenda that we share. I need to get 6 more SM58 mics. The ones with the red, white, and blue.
Yeah.
Where it's the red, white, and blue SM58 Shure mic that we have, and it's just the 3 colors. I think the mic itself is blue, and then I think the handle is maybe red, or something like that.
Yeah.
I sincerely, I wanted to order. I need to get 6 more of those from you. So for me and for anybody out there that wants to order stuff like that from you, what's the best way to do that?
So if anybody wants to do any type of ordering like that, they can just give us a call at our office number, which is 918-806-2780, and we're happy to help you. Of course, our biggest thing is automotive. We can do automotive anytime, but we like doing little things like the mics, or going out to actual properties and doing some jobs out on site. We like doing a little bit of everything. So yeah, just give us a call.
I'm going to pull this up so people can see what I'm talking about here. So this is the mic here. That's an SM58 mic. It's the mic made by the Shure company. And this is the mic here. It's blue on top. It's got the white, then the red handle there. That's the SM58 mic. And you guys auto wrap those. So I'm going to put that on your agenda with Andrew so you guys can talk about it. But you guys do auto wraps. I mean, you guys do mic wraps. Anything else that you wrap that's a common request right now that people are asking you about there, sir?
A common thing here recently has been refrigerators. People want to have their little man caves and, put their cars in their garage, and they want to have their refrigerator wrapped with like car logos or whatever it is. So refrigerators, yeah, it's kind of a weird thing.
Refrigerator wrapping. That's awesome. And again, final question I have here for you. What would you say for anybody out there thinking about scheduling a free one-on-one consultation by going to thrivetimeshow.com? Maybe they're on the fence. We had a guy I talked to last week who'd been a listener for 7 consecutive years. And he said, I don't know what the deal was. I think I had a phobia of reaching out to you guys. And but he reached out to us, and in 9 months, his company's grown 57%. So in 9 months, he's grown his company by 57%. And on part 2 of today's show, I'm going to introduce our listeners to this man because he's doing really well. What would you say to anybody out there that's thinking about scheduling a consultation, but they have yet to do so?
Man, I say you're making a mistake if you're not reaching out ASAP. I mean, you're just holding yourself back. Working with Thrive is one of the best decisions I've ever made for my company. I've been with them for 6.5 years now, and it's something I really, really recommend everybody do.
Well, brother, I appreciate your time. I know you're a busy guy. Thanks for carving out time for us again, folks. That website is whitegloveautotulsa.com. You can auto wrap a refrigerator. You can auto wrap a mic. You can auto wrap a Lamborghini, which now Myron now owns. So if you want to buy a Lamborghini from Myron, maybe he'll sell you he just bought it, but maybe he'll sell you his new Lamborghini at a reasonable markup. We'll see, folks. So you can buy a Lamborghini from Myron. You can buy an auto wrapped refrigerator. You can buy an auto wrapped microphone. You can buy all of those wonderful things at whitegloveautotulsa.com. Myron, thank you for carving out time for us. I really do appreciate you.
No problem, man. Thank you.
Take care. Bye-bye. Well, Thrive Nation, on part 1 of today's show, we talked to a guy by the name of Myron Kirkpatrick. Now, Myron Kirkpatrick, as you just heard, is a guy that just bought his first Lamborghini. And you might say, well, that's awesome for him. Well, the thing about Myron is Myron heard that his buddy, Steve Currington, just bought a Lamborghini. And so he had that curiosity, and he said, well, you're a mortgage guy. How is it possible that you just bought a Lamborghini? Man, you must be doing a lot of mortgages. And Steve said, I am doing a lot of mortgages. In fact, a lot of them, a ton of mortgages. In fact, if you go to stevecurrington.com, I'm the mortgage guy. And Myron says, well, how are you doing a lot of mortgages? And he says, well, I've got a proven system. And I've been working with this guy, Clay Clark. And he says, you've been working with Clay Clark? And so next thing you know, Myron, as you just heard, folks, he became a client 6.5 years ago, and he just is having his Lamborghini delivered today, his brand new Lamborghini. His business has grown by 20 times. And all it was a quick conversation that caused a complete change in his destination. So what am I saying? Today's guest has been a longtime client, and I believe that he has a solution for you that may just change your life. This is a man who has built a business and a system that has grown and scaled. He's been a longtime client. We have a lot of confidence in what he does. I have confidence in him as a person. I endorse him as a person. I endorse his company. I endorse what he stands for. He's the founder of a company called Window Ninjas. And over the past 3 years, we've had the honor to work with him. His company has continued to grow. And now he's to a place and space where he's offering franchising, which means he's going to allow you to use his super proven recipe, if you want to, for a fee. So without nothing further ado, Gabe Salinas from Window Ninjas. Welcome to the Thrivetime Show. How are you, sir?
I am wonderful, Clay. Glad to be here.
I got to ask you, when was that moment in your life when you thought, you know what? I think I'm going to open up my own business. Do you remember where you were or when you had that thought of, you know what, things are going well, or maybe things aren't going well, but you know what I'm going to do? I'm going to make a change. I'm going to make the first step, maybe make the first call, maybe start my own company. Or when did that aha moment happen for you?
Early on in my life, Clay, I've always been an entrepreneur, and I've always been interested in business. So as a youngster growing up, I was always hustling. I was always going out and knocking on doors so I could cut somebody's grass and earn some money, and doing all those little things, washing cars, as you do as a kid. But I was always interested in entrepreneurship, being my own boss, opening my own business. And man, early on in my life, I just kind of continued to have that mentality. And I knew probably right around the age of 19, 20 that I was going to do my own thing. Is really when I was committed fully to really focus on my business.
So when did you start WindowNinjas.com? When was that moment where you started WindowNinjas.com?
We started Window Ninjas almost 3.5 years ago, going on our 4th year. Actually, two, three. What year is this? Yeah. And so at any rate, I had actually opened up a franchise early on in my youth,
Yeah.
and had ran with that for quite a number of years. And it allowed me to be able to see what a poorly run franchise system was like. And over a 10-year span of dealing with that specific franchise system, I gained a lot of knowledge, good things to do, bad things, what things not to do. And it just kind of turned my mental state into, I was going to get out of this bad franchise system at some point, and then turn myself into my own entity, and then build a good franchise system. So I was kind of driven to things in a little bit different manner than most.
And you have how many locations now of windowninjas.com?
We currently operate in 12 different cities throughout 4 states.
And for just some context, so people out there know, with Myron, he was talking about, we've worked with Myron for almost 7 years at this point. When did you and I first connect? How long ago was that?
Right around 3.5 years ago, right when we opened up Window Ninjas, probably, I guess, well, no, forgive me, Clay, I'm getting old, but so if I go back in time, me and you've been together since right around 3.5 years, and then coming up on almost 4 now. And then I think about it, I think we started in August.
Yeah.
And then we've actually had Window Ninjas for 3 years prior, 2 to 3 years prior to that. So I actually, 5 to 6 years we've had Window Ninjas.
And you guys
so
have grown over the past, on the tracking sheet over the past 3.5 years that we've been with you, I think you guys have doubled the business. And now you guys, is that accurate? You've doubled. Your business is rocking.
Absolutely. Mm-hmm.
So there's got to be somebody listening right now, and you're like, man, I kind of want to own my own business, and I don't know the first thing about owning one, or where I would even start. Kind of guide people through, what does that first step look like if somebody wants to learn about opening a Window Ninjas franchise?
Well, the first step's pretty easy. If you just go to my website at windowninjas.com and click on the little franchise page link, it'll show you some information there. You can simply fill out a form at the request service page as well. But just send me an email, put your information in there. Let me know that you're interested in franchising out, and I will get that email, and then we will start the conversation. I'll make a phone call, set up an introductory meeting, and go over the things of what it takes to be a Window Ninjas franchise owner. And I'll get to know a little bit about them as well.
Now, this isn't a backhanded compliment. I'm just trying to give people some context. This is a client I've worked with for a long time, the Co-Laws. We've worked with them since 2017. We're now in 2013. Their business has grown quite a bit. And if you wanted to open up a Co-Law fitness location, what you'd have to do is, spend $1 million to open up a huge building and to buy all that equipment. And then you'd have to train all those people. And that's what it looks like to own a Co-Law Fitness. You have to get a big building, a lot of equipment, train a big staff, and that's what it looks like to open a Co-Law Fitness company. If you scroll up here, this is all from my newest book. You go to thrivetimeshow.com/millionaire, and you can download this book. It's thrivetimeshow.com/millionaire. And this is a millionaire's guide, how to become sustainably rich. You can download it for free at thrivetimeshow.com/millionaire. Now you look at that and you go, wow, the Co-Laws are successful, but I don't have that first $1 million sitting around. Well, Napoleon Hill, the best-selling author, says here, drifting without aim or purpose is the first cause of failure. So if you know you're not going to have $1 million sitting around to buy your own fitness company, what I would recommend you do is get realistic and set some SMART goals and say, how can I go about opening my own business now? Like, what is the most realistic path for you? And I think for a lot of people, a great place to start is to open up a franchise, open up a proven system that's been shown to work time and time again. So how much money are we talking about? If someone says, I don't have $1 million to open up a Co-Law, but I do want to open a business. How much does it cost to open up a Window Ninjas?
It's not as much as $1 million, Clay. We're a little bit more reasonable than that. I'm not saying that Co-Law is not reasonable.
Sure.
However, with us, you got a $50,000 franchise fee. And then you're purchasing your truck, your equipment packages, things of that nature. New vehicles today are running about $50K. So all in, to open up a window and pressure cleaning company with us here at Window Ninjas, you're looking right around the $150,000 mark, give or take about $25K on either side, depending on what type of package that the individual wants to purchase.
So this is a thing where, this is a business that it isn't $1 million to get started. Now, if somebody gets started with you guys, the first step is to schedule a consultation. And that consultation is just to find out if you're a good fit, to ask, any questions to see if it's a good timing, good fit. But I want to go over kind of the most commonly asked questions. So I've got 5 rapid fire questions for you. One, does anyone have to have any experience in the window cleaning business, or the window cleaning, the gutter cleaning, the pressure washing, the chimney sweeping, or the dryer vent cleaning business before they need to get started with you?
Absolutely not.
Okay. Second is, does somebody have to already have a vehicle? Does somebody already have to have a warehouse? Does somebody have to have a big business acumen before they get started with you?
If they had a vehicle, we would prefer it to be a white truck, because that is what we utilize. GMC is the brand that we use as well. So if they had that, that would be a step in the right direction. And as far as business acumen, absolutely not. I mean, if they are, typically what we find, Clay, is that people that may not have had their own business are typically inclined to have their own business, are already in that business mindset. They want to work for themselves. They want more time freedom and financial freedom. And they know the best way to do it is to start a business or open up a business that has already been franchised out.
Now, one of the mind-numbing things involved in owning a company is that discovering that you always have to answer the phone. And Window Ninjas or an OxyFresh, these are 2 franchises that I'm involved with. I'm just trying to give people some context. I believe in this model. This is kind of how I try to do it. But if you buy a Tip Top Canine franchise, obviously you have to love dogs. If you open up an OxyFresh franchise, there's 507, I think, locations open as of right now. So you have to find a territory that's open. If you go to a Window Ninjas, it's a growing brand, and so there's much more availability. But with all 3 of the brands, the phone does not ring to the local owner. So when the phone rings, a scheduling center or a call center answers the phone. Kind of explain to our listeners how that works.
It's pretty simple, and it's a huge benefit for the companies like ours that actually have a call center that takes all of the phone calls and does all the scheduling. It's pretty much that we set up a local phone number for the specific location. That phone number rings into our call center, and one of the many 10 to 12 agents that we have will pick that phone call up and facilitate the needs of that specific client. And it's really huge, Clay. For example, I was talking to somebody yesterday in Utah, and they were asking me about my call center, and they were actually asking me about you as well. We had a good conversation about franchising. But they also were amazed that we had this call center. These are guys that do like auto detailing, boat detailing, and they even detail planes. And they got these mobile detailing service, and they actually have a shop too. And I told them about my call center, and they were like, "Wow, that's huge. We never thought of that." And I said, "Yeah." I said, "How would you like to be waxing the Lamborghini or putting a nice fresh coat of wax on the airplane, and then have to answer a phone call, and then you forget where you're at on the airplane, and then you're taking and facilitating the need of the client over here and trying to schedule it, and you're kind of multitasking." And it was kind of like a light bulb went off in their head, and they were like, "Wow, that's a huge benefit." I said, "Absolutely. It's a benefit to the client, and it's also a benefit to the franchisee. We take that step out of their hands, and it allows them to be able to do the great things with the individual customers that they're working with day to day."
And I think that is just absolutely a home run, and a lot of details to go behind your excellent call center. You guys have call recording in place. You have proven call scripts in place. You have ongoing call training and mentorship for your representatives who work for you. You have a turnkey hiring system, so you always have a great call center team that you're always coaching and mentoring up. There's so much value there. The next is the proven turnkey advertisement. I think a lot of people get stressed out about buying a business because they think, how would I possibly generate leads? And I know I have a kind of a confirmation bias because we've worked with you to help you build those systems. I know your systems work well, but maybe explain to people a little bit of the detail of the turnkey marketing system that you provide to franchisees.
Well, with your help, Clay, we've been able to really dive into the nitty gritty with our marketing plan. We always run AdWords. We manage those AdWord campaigns for each one of our locations. And then just to the production of content, whether it be content that we're putting on YouTube or blog articles that we're writing, or just other content articles that we're writing. We produce a lot of content every single day that is relevant to the industries that we service. And within that content, we are optimizing that content so that it ranks high on Google. And we typically become the first item when somebody's searching for one of our services. We're popping up there. Most of the time, you'll find that it's an article that we've written or a blog post that we've written about something that the consumer actually has questions about concerning our specific services that we offer.
Now, one more thing, and I'll kind of wrap it up with this. You guys really look at the numbers too. A lot of people worry about owning a business because they say, I don't know what I would do with my accounting. I don't know about the legal. I don't know about the numbers. There's kind of a phobia around the numbers and the finances of a company. And you guys have really thought through the numbers. And when someone schedules a consultation, you'll go over those numbers with people and your open book, and it really helps people to have that confidence. But can you maybe talk about the numbers and just knowing the margins and knowing the pricing and knowing what you're going to charge for things? Because I think that's a big benefit that you offer as well.
Oh yeah. I mean, you definitely got to charge the right amount in order to make the right amount, right? We've taken all of that and just dialed it down. We're looking at numbers on a day-to-day basis to make sure that we are charging the right amount, that we're making the right amount of profit that we intend to have. We're making sure that the numbers add up so that the employees get paid properly. If there's any deductions or maybe there's a coupon or a giveaway that a consumer is going to get, we got to make sure those numbers are right. But there's a lot of stuff that goes into looking at the numbers on a day-to-day basis, making sure that our vendors are getting paid and things of that nature. But we really dialed all of that in, and that's part of the benefit of being in our franchise system, is that we teach every one of our franchises the nuts and bolts of the accounting as well. So it's more than just cleaning a piece of glass or pressure washing a house, but it's actually running the business and having the business serve you.
So if I'm listening right now, I want to get a hold of you guys. Again, Gabe, a lot of our listeners are driving while they listen to the show. What's the first step people need to take today, sir?
First step would be visit our website. Go to windowninjas.com. That's ninjas with an S. And just browse our website. Go to the franchise link on there. Fill out that form. You can find a form on pretty much any of our pages. But, take that first step. Just send me an email. Give us a call, whichever one you want to do. We're always happy to facilitate the needs of somebody that's interested in working with our team over here at Window Ninjas.
Hey, brother, thank you so much for carving out time. And again, that's windowninjas.com. That's Gabe Salinas with windowninjas.com. Gabe, have a great rest of your day. We'll talk to you soon.
Thanks, Clay. Have a great one.
Clay, my honor to be on your show. And thank you for all you do. I hear the ripple effects from you are good ripple effects. You know what I mean? People rave about what they learned from you. So congratulations.
Sean, guess what's happening June 5th and 6th right here in Tulsa, Jerusalem?
We are probably going to have an amazing business conference here at Tulsa, Jerusalem.
Yes, we're joined by Tim Tebow. Tim Tebow is going to be joining us right here at the Thrivetime Show World Headquarters, June 5th and 6th. He's a very successful football player, obviously a Heisman Award winner, but he's also a very successful entrepreneur. Now, when you work with real clients, Sean, clients you really work with to help them grow their companies, do you ever hear a business owner tell you that they didn't have time to get something done?
Every day.
How often is not having enough time a problem for business owners?
All the time. It's like maybe 90% of the issues as people are trying to grow their company.
Well, Tim Tebow is going to come join us here at the in-person Thrivetime Show 2-day interactive business workshop, and he's going to teach us time management and his approach to personal self-discipline and getting things done. Also at the workshop, I'll put up on the website so people can see it here. Also at the 2-day interactive workshop, Sean, we are going to be, there it is. We're going to be teaching accounting, systems creation, marketing, human resources, how to hire, inspire, train, and retain great people, accounting, social media advertising, search engine optimization. Sean, what's the area where most clients ask you for help the most? Is it generating leads? Is it hiring people? What's the biggest issue that most business owners have by default before they come to one of our workshops?
Well, I think it's management, because time is the most valuable resource for these business owners, and being able to manage their time is the first thing. Once they get that under control, then generally the numbers, being able to track their business and be able to make the best decisions based on numbers rather than emotions is a big area. And we teach all of this stuff at the business conference, particularly you, Clay. You love to hammer on time management. It's my favorite part of the conference.
Now I'm going to pull this up real quick here because we're going to go through. If you're not excited, I want to get you excited about what we're going to cover at the workshop here. Okay.
All right.
The 2-day interactive workshop. This is my 20th year hosting workshops. So I'm telling you folks, we're in rare form here. So one is the idea of establishing your revenue goals. I think most entrepreneurs don't know their revenue goals. Would you agree, or am I off my rocker?
No, that's totally a very important point we do with every one of our new clients that come on board is we have to establish the revenue goals. And generally speaking, we have a vague idea, but not an exact idea that can be engineered down into like the daily goals for sales. And so that's a really big one.
Now, next is the break-even numbers. What kind of sales do you have to do to even break even?
Yeah.
Third is how many hours per week do you want to work? What is your ideal schedule as an entrepreneur? Box number 4, how do you stand out in the clutter of commerce? What makes your company unique from all the different businesses? In a world of brown cows, herds of brown cows, proverbial brown cows, the analogy of brown cows, how can you be the purple cow that stands out? How can you be the squeaky wheel that gets the oil? Box number 5, branding. How do you improve the perception that people have of you, your business, your brand? Box number 6, marketing, your three-legged marketing stool. What is a turnkey way for you and your company to generate leads so you can succeed? Because if you don't have any leads, your business will bleed. If you can't sell, your business will go to hell. You've got to generate leads. Sean, how often do business owners by default tell you they have a hard time generating leads?
It's almost all of the time. It's really a huge struggle. And many times they may be creating leads, but just through word of mouth. So they get to a point where we've implemented systems and then they need to create more leads, but they've never had to do it. So there's a lot of different scenarios where business owners are like, how do you create leads? Something we hammer on at the conference a lot.
Box number 7, create a sales conversion system. Again, box number 7, create a sales conversion system. Sales scripts, recorded calls, one sheets, pre-written emails, lead trackers, all of the sales tools, the sales print pieces, the one sheets, the big screens that you see inside the business. Whether you're a doctor, you're a dentist, you're a lawyer, you got to have sales systems in place. We help you with that. Box number 8, what does it cost you to get another customer? Step number 8, what does it cost you to actually acquire a customer? Step number 9, it's hard to build an organization if you're not organized. We're going to teach you how to create repeatable systems, processes, file organization. Box number 10, we're going to teach you how to manage people, real people on the planet Earth. This just in, we're going to teach you how to manage real people on the planet Earth. Box number 11, how to create a sustainable schedule that works for you and your family. Step number 12, how to create human resources systems for recruiting, hiring, training, and retaining great people. Box number 13, accounting. This just in, we have to cover accounting. It's not how much you make, it's how much you keep. We're going to cover all the accounting things you need to know. And step 14, finally, what is the point of even achieving success? We're going to go over what is the point of even achieving success, how to design a life that you're excited about, how to design a life where you carve out enough time for your faith, your family, your finance, your fitness, your friendship, your fun, and where you're going to spend your focused time. We're going to go through that, all this and more. Now, the workshop, Sean, it's June 5th and 6th.
Yep.
It's a 2-day interactive workshop.
Yes.
And tickets, we always do it. It's $250 or whatever price that someone can afford. Sean, why do we let people name their price? Why do we have scholarship tickets available if somebody can't afford the $250 general admission ticket?
Well, we don't want anybody to miss out on it. You could be at a startup phase or you could be, way along in your business, but we want to make it accessible for everybody. I think it actually goes back to a story of your dad. And it goes all the way back to how you've always done this as a business coach, trying to make sure that, your average people out there have access to the things that work.
Now, 7 a.m. to 5, Sean, why do we go from 7 to 5 both days? I mean, it's 10 hours a day. 20 hours of training over 2 days. Why do we do 10 hours a day, Sean, of back-to-back workshops? We do a 30-minute teaching session. We do a 15-minute question and answer session, and then we take a break. 30 minutes of teaching, 15 minutes of question and answer, then we take a break. Why do we do that format, Sean?
That format is so that we can keep people engaged and not just sitting there listening, but also getting involved. We really encourage people to ask questions, and that's really where the juiciness of the conference comes out, is you can put your personal situation and your questions on the board, and Clay will tee off and give you direct advice. Even without being in our coaching program, you can get direct coaching from Clay. It's really a very engaging format. I enjoy it a lot.
Sean, final 60 seconds, pop quiz here. What date is the conference?
June 5th and 6th, 2025 this year.
Question number 2. Who's our keynote speaker coming to the conference there, Sean?
Tim Tebow is our keynote speaker.
Sean, question number 3. How much does it cost to come to our in-person 2-day interactive business workshop right here in Tulsa, Oklahoma?
I think it's, did you say it's $250 or whatever you can afford?
That's right, $250 or whatever you can afford. Sean, how do you spell Eric Trump backwards?
P-M-U-R-T-C-I-R-E. Ooh, that took a long time.
I'll have to listen to this. You did it right. All right, again, that's Sean Lohman. I'm Clay Clark, inviting you to come join us at the in-person Thrivetime Show 2-day interactive workshop, June 5th and 6th, right here in Tulsa, Tulsa, Oklahoma. Sean, I'm excited to have this event. I'm excited to see you at the event, June 5th and 6th, right here in Tulsa, Oklahoma. Tim Tebow, baby. It's Tebow time in Tulsa, Jerusalem.
You could be anywhere doing a lot of different things, but you chose to be here.
Clay Clark is here somewhere. Where's my buddy Clay? Clay's the greatest. I met his goats today. I met his dogs. I met his chickens. I saw his compound. He's like the greatest guy.
I ran from his goats, his chickens, his dogs.
So this guy's like the greatest marketer you've ever seen, right? His entire life, Clay Clark, his entire life is marketing.
Hey guys, Luke Erickson here with the Thrivetime Show. As you can see behind me, we've got all kinds of energy going on. People are starting to show up for the conference, and it is hot in this place. We got grill guns over here. We've got people playing the drums. We've got a fire breather, and man, people are so excited as they come in. The conference is kicked off. This house is packed. We've got Aaron Hansis with Shaw Holmes up there. We've got Steve Currington with Total Lending Concepts up there talking about what is possible when you just implement, when you do the proven system. It's so exciting. People are going crazy. Guys, Luke Erickson with the Thrivetime Show here with you. It is day 2 and the energy is high. People are so excited to be showing up. The team is ready. Come on, let's see what it's like to go on in for day 2. Follow me. I'll tell you what, people are so excited to be here for day 2. It is going to be incredible. Cannot wait to see what today has in store. Right now, here at the conference, we've broken into groups going over search engine optimization. I know for most of us, myself included, if you hear that term, you go, what is that? What does that mean? That's too techie for me. Well, our experts are breaking it down for people so that you can clearly understand how to come up top in Google. It's doable. It's possible. Now we're in the middle of a break, and what we like to do is we like to give you as much tangible and relevant information from about the start of the hour for 45 minutes. Then we take approximately a 15-minute break to allow people to connect with other entrepreneurs around them, bathroom breaks, and also use this time to just really digest all of the good information that you're receiving the whole time. Right behind me, we've got Bob with his grill gun, melting an ice sculpture. It is awesome. The ice sculpture represents our life, right? It's here for a time, but we all need to have the sense of urgency to implement the things that we're learning so that we can make the most of the time that we have.
I heard about it on the podcast. Started listening to the podcast, became a fan, and then figured out about the workshop. I own an insurance and financial services agency, and I was hoping to learn from the workshop systems and processes. I'm big on systems and processes and always learning better ways to run a business more efficiently. The atmosphere's second to none. It's a high energy, really cool atmosphere to be around. Contagious, I would say. Just something every entrepreneur, I think, would appreciate and love. I'd say humorous, high energy, and full of substance, which I think is the key. A lot of business coaches or seminars maybe are high on motivation and making you feel good, but don't have a lot of substance that you can take back and implement, the following Monday, where his does. Man, there's a lot of valuable things. I'm gonna say, like, I came to this is my second workshop. The first workshop I took back really the importance of a group interview. I used to spend hours and hours interviewing people, screening resumes, and that saving my time on that part is valuable. It was that and then the sales scripting that have been two major things just so far. Man, I think they're missing out on, you know, expert advice from somebody who's been there, done that, built companies, has learned a lot of lessons. You know, that's what I'm always looking for, is somebody that I can learn from that's ahead of where I am. And I think if you choose not to come, you're missing out on a lot of good advice that could help your business.
Hi, I'm Aaron Antis with Shaw Homes. I first heard about Clay through a mortgage lender here in town who had told me what a great job he had been doing for them, and I actually noticed he was driving a Lamborghini all of a sudden, so I was willing to listen. In my career, I've sold a little over $800 million in real estate. So honestly, I thought I kind of knew everything about marketing and homes. And then I met Clay, and my perception of what I knew and what I could do definitely changed. After doing $800 million in sales over a 15-year career, I really thought I knew what I was doing. I've been managing a large team of salespeople for the last 10 years here with Shaw Homes. And I mean, we've been a company that's been in business for 35 years. We've become one of the largest builders in the Tulsa area, and that was without Clay. So when I came to know Clay, I really thought, man, there's not much more I need to know, but I'm willing to listen. The interesting thing is our internet leads from our website has actually, in a 4-month period of time, has gone from somewhere around 10 to 15 leads in a month to 180 internet leads in a month. Just from the few things that he's shown us how to implement that I honestly probably never would have come up with on my own. So I got a lot of good things to say about the system that Clay put in place with us, and it's just been an incredible experience. I am very glad that we met and had the opportunity to work with Clay. So the interaction with the team and with Clay on a weekly basis is honestly very enlightening. One of the things that I love about Clay's perspective on things is that he doesn't come from my industry. He's not somebody who's in the home building industry. I've listened to all the experts in my field. Our company has paid for me to go to seminars, international builder shows, all kinds of places where I've had the opportunity to learn from the experts in my industry. But the thing that I found working with Clay is that he comes from such a broad spectrum of working with so many different types of businesses that he has a perspective that's difficult for me to gain because I get so entrenched in what I do, I'm not paying attention to what other leading industry experts are doing. And Clay really brings that perspective for me. It is very valuable time every week when I get that hour with him. From my perspective, the reason that any business owner who's thinking about hooking up with Thrive needs to definitely consider it is because the results that we've gotten in a very short period of time are honestly monumental. It has really exceeded my wildest expectation of what he might be able to do. I came in skeptical because I'm very pragmatic, and as I've gone through the process over just a few months, I've realized it's probably one of the best moves we've ever made. I think a lot of people probably feel like they don't need a business or marketing consultant because they maybe are a little bit prideful and like to think they know everything. I know that's how I felt coming in. I mean, we're a big company that's definitely one of the largest in town. And so we kind of felt like we knew what we were doing. And I think for a lot of people, they let their ego get in the way of listening to somebody that might have a better or different perspective than theirs. I would just really encourage you, if you're thinking about working with Clay, I mean, the thing is, it's month to month. Go give it a try and see what happens. I think in the 35-year history of Shaw Homes, this is probably the best thing that's happened to us. And I know if you give them a shot, I think you'll feel the same way. I know for me, the thing I would have missed out on if I didn't work with Clay is I would have missed out on literally an 1,800% increase in our internet leads. Going from 10 a month to 180 a month, that would have been a huge financial decision to just decide not to give it a shot. I would absolutely recommend Clay Clark to anybody who's thinking about working with somebody in marketing. I would skip over anybody else you were thinking about, and I would go straight to Clay and his team. I guarantee you're not going to regret it, because we sure haven't.
My name is Danielle Sprick, and I am the founder of D Sprick Realty Group here in Tulsa, Oklahoma. After being a stay-at-home mom for 12 years and my 3 kids started school and they were in school full-time, I was at a crossroads and trying to decide what do I want to do? My degree and my background is in education, but after being a mom and staying home and all of that, I just didn't have a passion for it like I once did. My husband suggested real estate. He's a home builder, so real estate and home building go hand in hand, and we just rolled with it. I love people, I love working with people, I love building relationships, but one thing that was really difficult for me was the business side of things. The processes and the advertising and marketing. I knew that I did not have what I needed to make that what it should be. So I reached out to Clay at that time, and he and his team have been extremely instrumental in helping us build our brand, help market our business, our agents, the homes that we represent. Everything that we do is a direct line from Clay and his team and all that they've done for us. We launched our brokerage, our real estate brokerage, 8 months ago. And in that time, we've gone from myself and one other agent to just this week, we signed on our 16th agent. We have been blessed with the fact that we right now have just over 10 million in pending transactions. 3 years ago, I never would have even imagined that I would be in this role that I'm in today, building a business, having 16 agents. But I have to give credit where credit's due. And Clay and his team and the business coaching that they've offered us has been huge. It's been instrumental in what we're doing. Don't ever limit your vision. When you dream big, big things happen.
I started a business because I couldn't work for anyone else. I do things my way. I do what I think is in the best interest of the patient. I don't answer to insurance companies. I don't answer to large corporate organizations. I answer to my patient, and that's it. My thought when I opened my clinic was I can do this all myself. I don't need additional outside help in many ways. I went to medical school. I can figure this out. But it was a very, very steep learning curve. Within the first 6 months of opening my clinic, I had a $63,000 embezzlement. I lost multiple employees. Clay helped us weather the storm of some of the things that are just a lot of people experience, especially in the medical world. He was instrumental in helping with the specific written business plan. He's been instrumental in hiring good quality employees, using the processes that he outlines for getting in good talent, which is extremely difficult. He helped me in securing the business loans. He helped me with web development and search engine optimization. We've been able to really keep a steady stream of clients coming in because they found us on the web. With everything that I encountered, everything that I experienced, I quickly learned it is worth every penny to have someone in your team that can walk you through and even avoid some of the pitfalls that are almost invariable in starting your own business. I'm Dr. Chad Edwards, and I own Revolution Health and Wellness Clinic.
Clay, my honor to be on your show, and thank you for all you do. I hear the ripple effects from you are good ripple effects, you know what I mean? People rave about what they learned from you, so congratulations.
And we went from expecting maybe 250,000 this year to we're at 400,000. Hi, I'm Kelsey with K&D's Woodward Finishing, business owner at 23. So I've been working this K&D's company for about 5 years now, and we started working with Thrive not too long ago. And we went from expecting maybe 250,000 this year to we're at 400,000. That's what we're going to hit or exceed. So we're pretty excited about that. It's been pretty much just listening to what they have to say. Their hiring process has just really been incredible as far as finding good quality help, and the just the accountability of meeting up with them weekly, and like such good insight, the resources that they have for specific business questions. It's all been really incredible. It's been a great experience, so I would recommend it to anybody.
What I've seen from Clay and his group at Thrive is they'll give you a simple system, and it's the simple systems are the ones that people can wrap their brain around. They're the ones that people can work with on a day-to-day basis.
Hi there, my name is Stephanie Pipkin. I am 24 years old and I own Black River Falls Cleaning Services. We opened in April of 2019 and it is now mid-June of 2020. So I wanted to talk today about the success and growth I have achieved by implementing the Proven Path with Clay Clark's team and my business coach Luke from Thrivetime. It has been insane to say the least. I started working with them in mid-February of this year, so we're about 4 months in of working together, and it has completely transformed my business in pretty much every facet. So I'm gonna check my notes here. So in 4 months, my leads have tripled. I was getting probably like 2 leads a week. Now I'm getting more in the like 10 to 15 leads a week. I have doubled my number of employees. I'm now hitting the highest revenue weeks in the history of the company, week to week it seems like. We went from about 6 appointments today as our highest in February to now 14 to 15 appointments a day. And hiring quality employees has become much simpler and less stressful by using their systems for hiring. I typically only get maybe 2 complaints a month, if that, and everybody shows up to work. I just have really high quality employees now, especially in something people typically consider a high turnover type of work, you know, cleaning houses, cleaning businesses. I have amazing employees now, and I get rid of the ones who are not so amazing and bring on new ones because of, you know, group interviews and interviewing every single week. It's just been great, and such I don't waste as much time on low quality candidates anymore. And your coach will hold you accountable. I mean, which I love. Again, the tough love is really great. You know, Luke's like a stern father figure, but he's also nice, but also stern when he needs to be, when I'm being lazy and not doing the things that I know I need to do because I don't want to do them. So that's just great. Worth every penny. I mean, I'd pay him $1 million a month if I can, and maybe someday I'll be able to, but I would just say go for it. If it seems like a good fit, just go for it. Do what they say, even if you think it's stupid or ridiculous, just do what they say because it'll work. You know, people, when they look at my business, you know, people in my town, they think I'm lucky. They think I'm just, you know, things just happen for me. And, you know, maybe I am lucky, but it has a lot to do with hard work and, you know, perseverance and, you know, working till you cry sometimes. That's just being an entrepreneur, which if you're a business owner, you understand that. But it's having these systems in place of, you know, of course I'm going to be successful. It's an absolute because I have all this stuff in the background happening, and I have Luke and Clay and everybody on their team working really hard to make sure that I'm a success. And I can tell that they are just so excited every single week when I'm having all these wins and things like that. They're so excited for me. So it's the best thing ever, and I would suggest to anybody to work with them. So sorry for the long-winded reply, but I just had so much to say, and I could go on for hours probably about how amazing they are. But thank you to Clay and Luke and the entire team there, everything you guys have done for me, and I am so excited to continue to work with you for years to come. Thanks so much for watching.
My saying is, if it's important to you, hire a coach. And I think that's one of the reasons people are not successful is they eat a cheeseburger instead of hiring a coach, you know what I mean? And so my coach pushes me. They're younger than me. They push harder. They're trained. And as my rich dad always said, amateurs don't have a coach, but professionals always have coaches. So I've always had coaches for whatever is important. And my rich dad was one of those persons.
You're on it, man. You're on it. You're on it. Everybody, listen to this guy. He knows what he's talking about. You have the macro picture. Very few people have that point of view.
Clay, you're an entrepreneur. I'm an entrepreneur. And as they say in Stoic, the obstacle is the way. And so if you let these pinheads get in your way, you're in trouble.